Oh, it's Frayzlo. Hello, sir.
Oh, looks like we're back. All right. So, yeah, I guess that means that we were a little spoilery with the commentary, since now we got to go back to where the viewers are at.
And then we're on Terra Vine right now, I believe.
Okay, real quick, I just got to get the correct restream up because it changed on us. And there we are. Okay. So, both players entering the underworld. So, all right, you know, we skipped a good chunk of the game, but that's all right. This is a really dense game, so it's not like we don't have anything to talk about. Here we go. So, Frayzlo did a... Oh, yep.
Sorry, go ahead. You can go.
Frayzlo did a really nice job manipulating that skeleton just to not have to stop and deal with it on the way on that first checkpoint. That's always a big deal. And oh my gosh, they're like 3 seconds apart. It's insane.
Yeah, they've been really close for the entire race since the Purgor kill, and they've stayed really close even when we were off stream. And now they're on the same portal in the underworld. This is an insanely close race. It's really impressive, and they're both on a decent pace. There's a good chance we're going to see sub 50 here.
And yeah, Frayzlo wasn't lying. It looked like they skipped, you know, the entire Terrestrial Veil 2 and all of Sinister Grotto. He didn't tell us, though, that it would skip it for the other player as well. That doesn't seem very useful in a race situation.
Yeah, that's a problem, indeed. I guess that's why he didn't do it before. Okay, making their way to Craterak, and we see the first example of a new mechanic. The feather that they got off the portal gives them the power to use dash wings, and what dash wings do is when you use the flutter button, it will give you a very quick dash just after you took the wing.
I'm sorry, are you talking to me?
I'm talking to, well, everyone.
Oh, sorry, you kept saying dash, and I got really confused. Soldier named a mechanic after me, and it's just... Oh.
Okay, no, I didn't catch that. You could feel a little bit targeted by what I was saying. Yeah, so, and there's a little trick that you can do with it. It's a quote-unquote bug. If you use a flutter immediately after you dash, you will gain an enormous amount of height. And this is going to be used for a skip that's a little bit later called the library skip. And we're going to explain to you when it happens, while both players are still seconds apart here.
Beautifully handled by both players. So one funny thing about when this game decides to gate you with a little fog wall is that the fog wall stays up as long as there are enemies on screen. And the skeleton guys, skelemen as I like to call them, are very easy to manipulate to go off screen, allowing the fog wall to just disappear before they're even dead. And then and that saves you a lot of time because they're a pain to kill because of their weird movement.
Now we're on Craterak. Craterak will simply follow you in tunnels, and you have to escape from him and deal damage to him as quickly as possible.
Yeah, so this is another boss where you primarily deal damage to it using your orbs. However, he occasionally hits the sides and drops a bunch of rocks over you, and you can hit the rocks back at him for some extra damage. What's really tricky about it, though, is that the rocks spawn somewhat above your player character, and so that means in order to get them close enough to him to hit them back at him, you have to be standing close to him. But you also want to be standing far away so you can actually dodge his attacks. So this fight takes a lot of smart positioning and very quick reacting to be able to move away from him when he attacks and move close to him when he starts to do rocks.
Really good fight by both players. They managed to get the kill on the first attack of the first phase, which is the ideal fight that you can expect. You can two-cycle Craterak, but it's extremely difficult and extremely rare. You need great RNG, 5 rocks in the face in the first phase, and yeah.
And then he needs to do, like, there's a certain move that he does on the vertical phase that sometimes he does twice for some reason, and if he does that, then that'll give you just enough time to two-cycle him. But yeah, that means It means all 5 rocks, perfect damage output the entire time, and he has to do that move that he does twice sometimes. So now the players are on a portion of the game where they need to grab 3 keys. Each of these portions of the game are designed to be done forward and backward. You need to go through, you have your choice of 3 different paths to take. You have to take all 3 at some point. And each one, you get to the end, you grab a key, and then you platform your way back, which is usually extra challenging on the way back. However, by just not taking the checkpoints, the players are able to just death warp back to the fork each time that they get one of the keys.
And here we saw RisingMooon take actually a pretty good lead. Frayzlo had a little bit of trouble on the top key, and now RisingMooon is already really close to the second really big damage boost skip in the game, which is the Ancient Construct skip. We completely skip a boss. Saves about 1.5 minutes.
Yep, so this is the only boss in the game that's actually skippable, and the way that it works is you'll see when we enter the boss arena that there are 3 foreboding, angry statues just kind of standing around, and the idea of the fight is that when you go into the middle of this room, the fight triggers. However, that's just a big invisible box that triggers the fight, and if you damage boost off this conving, like we've been talking about since the beginning of the game with these damage boosts, you can actually jump straight over the trigger that starts the boss fight. Now, what makes it a little extra complicated is that if you accidentally jump straight into the statue on top, it deals damage to you. So if you don't time your jumps right, that'll actually stop your momentum and drop you into the trigger. But if you do it just right, like Moon just did, boom, skip a boss.
Yep, second attempt, Moon. That's pretty good. It's a pretty precise skip. And we're getting to, we're starting to get into the really hard part of the game here, the Acropolis, where there are 2 paths, up and down. Up is the library, where Miyugi lies. It's the first boss we made in the game, but she kind of improved her magic, and she's a lot harder to kill now. To the bottom is going to be the chambers with the twin orcs, which is a pretty interesting fight as well. But right now, we're going to start with the library, and here is the library skip that we talked earlier about with the flutter dash. So here Moon takes the barely not enough height. So you take the wing, then you flutter immediately to gain a lot of height, and after that you double jump up to skip about 30 seconds worth of brutes that would shoot laser at you, but that are really hard to dodge, and he gets it second attempt.
And one tricky thing about that skip is that when you jump up onto that platform up there, if you go too far to the right, you get blasted by a brute. So you need to make it far enough, you need to know right where the platform is up there because the camera's not on it to be able to get on it, but, you know, get around it so you don't bonk on it, and then get on it, but just enough to not also get blasted. Frayzlo gets the Ancient Construct skip, by the way.
Yep. Frayzlo's not very far behind. At best 30 seconds if everything goes right.
Yeah, if he nails the
elevator.
Yep, if he nails the library skip, he'll be not far behind. If Moon makes any mistakes on the elevator, then they'll be basically synced right up. And the elevator that Moon is on right now is one of the notoriously more difficult checkpoints in the game. It's the most difficult auto-scroller in the game. There's just tons and tons of things to avoid here. Here's the nice little bullet hell section. Each of these deals 60 damage to you, so if you get hit twice, you're dead. And also, there's those little black circles floating around. Those are actually instant kills. And then after all that, well, I won't spoil it for you.
Frayzlo got the skip the first go. Well done. He's catching up.
Oh, it's 2 Skelemen! The worst! So it looks like Moon is going to take a minute to take out both of these skeletons. It can be very difficult to actually avoid their attacks. It looks like they just shoot straight forward and you jump over them easy. They've got like a weird tracking to them where sometimes they just home right in on you and it's crazy.
Yep, manipulating them. Well, when you get used to it is quote-unquote easy, but sometimes they can have a lot of jank and surprise you. And that's why you really don't want to take any damage going up the elevator, because it can get dangerous. Now we're getting to Miyugi 2. Okay, so it's an interesting boss that when you hit her, she's invulnerable for a small period of time. So if you hit her while she's invulnerable, you heal her. We're going to abuse that mechanic to try to skip our enrage. If you heal her 6 times, you will get perfect health to have her fall on her butt at the exact same health where she would enrage. And if you hit her properly at the perfect timing, which is about 4 frames, you will skip her enrage. Let's see if Moon is going to succeed at it.
Yep. After 6 hits right here, she'll be at 40% health. Then he's gonna wait for her to, right now, use the rock attack, because that gives a good visual cue, where right when the attack is over, she's going to try to enrage.
And that was perfect by Moon. Wow. Well done.
Yeah, excellent Miyogi skip. Very well executed. Is Frayzlo going to orcs first? Oh, no. I thought he was in that room. I thought he was in that first room towards orcs where there's all the spiky balls and crumbly platforms.
It's okay. He's at Miyugi 2 now. He missed healing Miyugi properly, so he decides to reset. He's
did I say...
really concentrated on...
Sorry, did I say he about Moon? I apologize.
Oh, yeah, Moon is... Yeah, I said he, I think, for the entire stream. Whoops.
That's why I did. I was just following you.
Yeah, sorry. I actually don't know Moon very well, so... So
Frayzlo is on Miyogi 2 now, and so it's a little more precise what happens on the enrage skip, because after 6 hits, they go to Miyogi goes to 40% health. Then when you hear her start a certain attack, you hit her a 7th time, which puts her into health where she wants to enrage as soon as possible. And
Ooh. Frayzlo was a little bit late there. I think 1 frame late, and now he's going to have to face the enrage of Miyugi, which is about 40 seconds of attacks non-stop that you have to dodge.
Right. Yeah, it puts her into health where she wants to enrage as soon as possible, and that's your 7th hit, which means your next hit will stun her, which allows you to then stun her at just the right window to cancel out her enrage. But now we get to see what happens if you miss it, which is that she is invulnerable, and you just have to deal with this hot mess that she throws at you for 40 seconds.
Here, Moon keeps the curse alive and missed first try password.
Oh, and goes for a very tricky, precise... It's not really a skip there, it's just a really tricky cycle to get on these things. There's a lot of instant death portals here that will kill you, well, instantly. But you can slip through like Moon got right there. But yeah, the first time she got caught up in it, it's very tricky to get that cycle.
Frayzlo just took a death after the enrage on Miyugi. That's about 2 minutes. It's a very, very painful death, and he has to start the boss over again.
Yep, the bosses in this game are absolutely brutal, and they take a lot of time. So if you die that late into a boss, it is just a huge time loss.
And RisingMooon is going through the chambers. The mechanic of the chambers, there's these little eyes there. If you shoot them, it's going to switch the spikes up and down. And wow, that was a very, very fast bridge there by Moon. That is the fast strat. It's really hard to do, trust me.
And so in the chambers, and now that Moon has taken a death, we get some nice music for the chambers. For some reason, the music doesn't come in until after you reset the first time.
That's a little bug that was introduced last patch. I mean, it's relaxing to have some silence for that very hard section.
Frayzlo missed the skip again.
And Moon sadly touched the ground before the Centaur left. So basically Centaurs are pretty interesting in that they're going to jump to your position. But if your last position is either not on a platform that still exists or in the air, the Centaur is just going to fly to the moon, like so.
Yep.
Goodbye, Centaur. And we're through. with
And
the
then
pacifist.
Moon also did something, very tricky there, which is that she manipulated the skeleton's AI to not, to not kill her the whole time, but then also to both go off screen right after the centaur suicided, which, as we said, that makes the fog gates go down, and she was able to get past him without having to spend the time killing him. That is a nice time save.
The
It's not-
final gate is done by Moon here for the toughest platforming section of the chambers, and we're getting to the orcs. Moon goes for the quick kill. So usually when you fight the orc casually, you fight on the platform and you try to dance a little bit with the orcs. It's pretty fun to do, but it's slow. So what you can do is stay on the side, keep hitting the boss forever, but it's extremely precise and very difficult. And Moon got a really, really good purple here. Lots of damage.
Yeah, the Twin Orcs quick kill, the Twin Orcs quick kill is super deceptive in that it makes the fight look easy, but this quick kill, I cannot stress how difficult it is to properly pull this off. Just because of the number of inputs that you need to be precisely putting in order to drop off the platform and get just underneath the orc's attack while not getting low enough to drop off or to be considered to be fallen into the pit and die. It's insanely precise, and you have to do it over and over again perfectly throughout the fight.
That was a beautiful fight by Moon. I don't know if you noticed, but Moon showed a good understanding of orc mechanics. If you kill purple before red lands for her last jump, you can ensure that there is no enrage, because red will simply go back to her platform and chuck stuff at you. So Moon was a little bit slow on red and decided to kill purple immediately, and then finish red on her platform to prevent the enrage. So that was a great save after struggling a little bit with red damage, which is really, really difficult to do.
Frayzlo gets Miyogi skip on the third try and ends up defeating Miyogi and is now on his way to the orcs as well. And yeah, as far as what you were talking about with the enrage, one thing to understand about that fight is you have to kill both the orcs at the same time.
Yes.
If you kill just one orc, it begins regenerating its health. Once it gets up to, is it 30%? It actually rejoins the fight with 30% health. And so if you just keep killing one orc over and over again, the fight never ends. You have to kill them both at the same time. Now, to make it even more weird is that one of their, when we also say enrage, it's because once you do the dance with both orcs, they decide that it's enrage time, and they select one of 3 attacks to use against you, one of which they become invulnerable for the duration of, which means if you kill one of the orcs and then they decide to do that enrage attack,
you die. You just die.
Yeah.
It's undodgeable.
Long story short, don't do it.
Okay. Moon is in the Path of Decay right now. She's doing a really good job getting through the Path of Decay in the climb, which is, I would say, one of the toughest saves to do casually. And that, it looks like it's going to be a first try climb. Well done. Kills the skeleton and finally can go forward.
Yeah, that's a very tricky checkpoint because of the way that you have to climb up a crumbly tower. And so if you make any mistakes, you only have so much pathway to go on. And if you ever fall, you cannot climb back up because the way onto the tower is only a single crumbly tower.
Exactly. So what you have to do is kill a lot of enemies that have a lot of health, still do it very, very quickly so that you don't run out of platforms, and face a final fight at the end that can be very dangerous if you lost a lot of health going up.
Right. The best way to handle the end generally is just to tank it so that you're fast, but you can't tank it if you took too much damage on the way up there. Path of Decay, by the way. Path of Decay features my favorite song in the soundtrack, so that's also always exciting.
I'm sad because my favorite song is Ancient Constructs.
Yeah, that's a really good one.
Sadly, we don't hear it anymore. So
and
Moon
also
gets, Moon gets to the section which has demon form, which we can also call the Space Meatball. So basically, when you hold Flutter, you transform into this little demon form that allows you to navigate these little labyrinth sections. and they're pretty difficult. We're going to see that mechanic work against Azrael.
So if Ancient Constructs is your favorite song, then are you also bummed that the version of J1 that's in the game is the one that doesn't have the Ancient Constructs melody in it?
Wait, was there a version of J1 that had the Ancient Construct melody?
Oh yeah, if you get the soundtrack for the game, it has a different version of the J1 song in it that has that melody.
I actually didn't know that. Damn.
My
You're
guess
teaching
is
me
that
things today.
my guess is that that song must have been written later, the Ancient Constructs one, and so maybe they took that melody out and just expanded it into its own song. I'm not sure.
Moon took the safe way out of the gauntlet doing safe strats, but gets through on the first go and already is fighting Azrael. So Azrael has an enormous amount of mechanics. She's a very difficult boss, but the main mechanic is that she has a shield. If you hit her too much, then the shield becomes active, it becomes red, and then you cannot hit her again for 8 seconds. So what you want to do is deal always a little bit of damage, but never too much, so that the shield stays apparent, but not red. And during that time, you have to dodge an enormous amount of attack, make sure you keep enough platforms alive, because Azrael will drop platforms under you, and you have to revive them with these souls that are at the top of the screen. So it becomes a very big balancing act on dealing damage, surviving, not taking damage, and continuing to keep the ground under your feet, well, existent.
Yeah. So one interesting thing about the amount of damage that you can do to Azrael is it's generally 4. If you slow it down a little bit, you can get a couple more in. But if you deal 5 damage to her at a time, that's when she red shields, and the main weapon in the game deals 4 damage. So that's why you'll see most runners use the main weapon in the game, so that they can quickly swipe her if she comes by. Otherwise, though, it is generally a good idea to kind of keep your distance and use orbs, though, because she likes to just shoot blue shards right in your face if you're too close to her.
Yeah, she just RisingMooon just got hit by drive-by at 20 health, but manages to clutch out the fight.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's better than me. I died 3 times to Azrael in my race.
And 20 health is really clutch, because in the Azrael fight, almost every single attack of hers deals 20 damage.
Exactly.
I think there's one thing you can get hit by that deals 25. I want to say it's the grabby hand portals, the ones that move left and right, not the opening ones.
Yeah, I think if you jump straight into them, it's 25, but the hand deals 20. But I'm not exactly sure.
Yeah, basically means 20 HP is basically 1 HP.
Exact.
And yeah,
Frayzlo
Moon
managed to
is...
kill the orcs, and he's just starting on the path of decay. So Moon has a very good lead at the moment.
Yeah, Moon is cruising through here. Ooh, gets a death on what I think is the hardest jump in the game. For some reason, I just cannot do this jump here.
If I can give you a little tip, move off the platform and start fluttering just as you move down. You won't flutter as high, because an interesting property of fluttering is that it boosts your actual movement. So if you're going up, it's going to go up more. If you're going down, it's going to go up less.
Right.
Wow, fast here for the shark tooth on Moon. Wow. That's scary.
And what we saw, though, Moon did flutter off the platform, but too late one of the attempts, and then got killed by a spike below. So the issue is that there's like a short window after you fall off the platform on when you're allowed to flutter.
Exactly. It's
quite precise. All right, so
pretty
Moon...
much everything past Acropolis, really.
So Moon is now on Jaul, the main bad guy of the game. The gimmick of this fight is that you have this yellow meter that the further that the yellow meter fills up, the fight becomes faster and Jaul does more damage to you. The way that it fills up is if this yellow skull touches you, or if you touch the yellow cloud on top. And if it fills all the way up, then Jaul will do a special enrage attack where he becomes invulnerable for a long period of time, attacks you for a long period of time, and heals himself. So it's very brutal to let the yellow meter fill up, and even more brutal if it fills up all the way. Now, your primary source... Yep.
Okay, you were about to talk about the spikes. That's what I was going to talk about. You can go.
Yeah, your primary source of damage here is that when Joel summons spikes from the bottom, you can break them and knock them back at him, and that just does a good chunk of damage to him. Headshots do bonus damage, but really what you're looking for is to multi-spike him.
Yeah, Moon got J1. It was pretty close on the enrage, but still a 1 attempt kill. You're not going to whine about that.
Yeah, she got a lot of yellow bar pretty early on, which makes the fight really difficult because it's just faster than normal, and so it becomes very difficult to get triple spikes, to get headshots and that kind of stuff when he's just jumping around like crazy.
Well, we wait for our angel friends to come in. We're going to start the big fight of the game. Joel is not dead. He's back as Supreme Joel. Main mechanic of this fight, he has a poison aura. You keep taking damage for the entire fight, and the only way to regenerate that poison damage is to take the green orbs that Fiola, the fairy with green wings there, drops for you. And other than that, Joel does an enormous amount of different attacks that you have to handle precisely, or else it can turn sour very, very quickly.
Yep, as far as actually fighting him goes, I would say the main mechanic of the combat is knowing his positioning. So there's basically 3 spots where he can be. There's 2 platforms that you fight him on, and he can either be between them on the left side or on the right side. And as you can see in the middle right now, there's a little symbol, and it's still in the middle. What that little symbol means is that's the next place that he's going to move to when he does a specific movement action. Like right now, he's going middle. Some of his attacks move him around the stage, such as his bite, but then at other times he actually moves. Like right now, he's just going to do a little flip, come back up in the middle, and the icon has moved to the right. So next time he does that, he's going right. But that's not the bite. The bite is a different thing. But now he's doing a backflip, and he's going to the right. So yeah, in this fight, you have to constantly follow around Fiola so that you can collect her health orbs, which means alternating left and right platforms, while also knowing where Joel is going to go and when he's going to go there, so that you can keep him on screen and dodge his attacks and do damage to him.
Yep, and now Moon waited a little bit to enrage J2, because he enrages at 40% health, and he waited for a dive where you can lure him into a frozen trap, so that Amethyst can deal a lot of damage to him with a laser. And now we're getting to the enrage. Every attack is doubled. The bite will spawn some...
Oh! Yeah, so that...
worms.
The deal with the worm is when you see him bite, you have to stand in a specific spot so that the worm comes out in a predictable manner that is also within your melee range. And then you're able to make short work of it, like right there. But if you let that worm get around, it harasses you, it deals 25 damage to you, it's a nightmare. And Moon pulls it through, first try, J2!
That was beautiful. It got a little bit scary at the end, but Moon had starting about, I would say when we came back on screen, there was nothing that was really bad about Moon's run. Everything went smooth. That was impressive. And ends with a 48, 49, and 3100 of a second. I would like everyone to say GG to Moon. Well done.
That is just an outrageously fantastic race time. I mean, the competition in this tournament is so incredibly stiff with people pulling out race times like that. It's just unbelievable. Not only pulling out race times like that, but there's even been a lot of in-tournament PBs happening. Like,
you got a 5-minute PB yesterday. That was hype. Congratulations.
Yeah, so this race has just been, or this tournament already has just been insane. So Frayzlo is dealing with Azrael. So between J2 and Azrael, I mean, these two bosses are just the ultimate, like, plate spinning acts, where there's just so many mechanics that you have to sit there and multitask at once. Oh boy.
We're going to see if we can get Moon to come in for a small interview.
Yep, she says she's calming down first.
Cool. Yeah, I mean, this is stressful. Getting to J2 on a good pace in a race, yeah, it's scary. And that end was very, very clutch. I would have been scared after I got hit by the worm. Oh,
Absolutely.
And clutch on Frayzlo's side as well with an Azrael kill.
Yeah,
Only 20 health.
Right, he red shielded her right at the end and then had to wait to deal her last points of HP, which I also did in my race.
And Moon just got into welcome, Moon. GG, well done. That was a pretty solid race. Starting about middle of the game when the stream came back, there was really no place where you got stuck for a long period of time. Seriously, congratulations. That was smooth.
That was a pretty scary run overall, especially that Dark Annihilator fight.
Yeah, we were following when there was a little while that the speed gaming stream was down, but we were following just your Twitch pages, and you guys were like 3 seconds apart from each other all the way through the Terravine fight.
That is actually what I was hoping for. It's great that it happened.
Oh, by the way, we just saw the new Frayzlo skip. I don't know if you saw it, but he just found a different way to skip the amethyst platforms. That was completely silly.
Yeah, I definitely have to watch the lot for that.
Yeah, after that point in the game, after the Terravine, it just Frayzlo started having a lot more little deaths here and there, and then kind of a big issue with Miyogi too. Meanwhile, you didn't slow down for the rest of the time and just kept pace and got an absolutely solid race time. That is just excellent.
Oh yeah, you two were absolutely, well, on the same screen until, I would say, the Keys area of Underworld. But you killed our little friend Kratorak at, I think, 2 seconds difference. That was really, really high for a time.
Yeah, the scariest part for me was I actually tried to make up time at Amethyst. I usually don't skip the save there, but I just went for it.
Sadly, we didn't get to see that part.
And
the entire stream died at this moment.
I'm impressed that you did though. After you lost some time on the Electram save skip.
That was actually the only reason I did though. I just wanted to make up for the huge time loss.
Yeah, Frayzlo, I want to say actually messed up the Electram skip as well though, and you guys both had to do that part twice.
That wasn't the only one.
By the way, were you a little bit worried at the end of the J2 fight? Because I saw you take a worm to the face, and then your health was pretty low.
Especially that choice to go for the balls and not go to the safe strat. That scared me the most, probably.
Yeah, when those worms get loose, it can be absolutely hectic. If you don't deal with it right away, then you're lucky to get out with just one hit.
Yeah, I was definitely in panic mode.
But you handled it really, really well after that. It was absolutely safe and solid.
All right, Frayzlo is coming into J2 now. He just got past his first Azrael phase. Got decent RNG on the Scream attack. You want Jewel to be either left side or right side for that attack.
Yeah, he has good damage for now. He should be able to enrage on the second dive.
Yeah, he's using the frozen orb strat pretty effectively here, getting some extra damage in.
Will he do the dive? Yes, that was really precise. By the way, this dive has very little cues to go on to dodge properly. It's very, very difficult to learn.
Yeah, the right side is a bit easier. There's a line that is on the background of this stage where once Amethyst's shield starts to intersect it, that's when you go. So the right side is a little bit easier. The left side, though, you just gotta either feel it or some people use an audio cue. What I like to do is just look at how fast Amethyst is moving, and when she slows down and stays still for a couple frames, that's when you go.
Frayzlo here using safe strats, staying always on the same side Fiola is to make sure he doesn't miss any health orb. He's doing great. Oh, he's going to go for it, and he makes it! Wow, that was swag. Well done, and he finishes with an SRL time. of about 55-26. He's gonna have to split though. He didn't split.
Hi.
Yep.
Hi.
Oh,
Frayzlo.
hey, Frayzlo. How are you?
Frayzlo, you gotta split.
Yeah, I did it. Just very, very late. Doesn't matter much.
No, well, GG,
I think
man.
this was a good race.
It was until you were
Yugi
seconds
2
apart
was
coming
pretty bad.
out of Craterac, and
Yeah.
after that in the key area you lost about 10 seconds, but the big time loss indeed was
Yeah,
Yugi 2.
yeah. I lost a lot of time on the top key.
Yeah, but I mean, the first half of the race, you guys were within seconds.
Yeah, I
of
think
each
I
other.
think
It
I
was
played
nuts.
really well until Yugi 2. Top key was pretty rough, and then Azrael, I think I got kind of bullshitted on Azrael.
Yeah, she does that.
She did lower all the platform on the left side.
Yeah, so that was a
Uh,
good race.
Since when does Electram does spit on left side first?
Oh yeah.
It
So-
can do that. Well, yeah, that was painful.
It's-
Missing the Electram skip.
Oh yeah. I guess I died to Electram too.
Yeah, Moon also had troubles on it, so that didn't decide the race. But after
Yeah,
that,
yeah.
well, I can vouch. It can be hard after a big mistake to recover and
think-
still keep your nerves.
I think I recovered well from some of my mistake.
Yeah, the end of the game after Mugi 2 was really solid.
Yeah. I would reset early. When I got hit on Azrael a couple of times, I just knew it wasn't worth it. It was the start of the fight. Just had to reset.
Well,
So-
I'd
Oh, yeah.
okay, you can go ahead if you have a question.
Oh, I forgot my question.
Oops,
Nice.
That's my bad. I was about to say thanks to Belt because I ran out of questions.
Oh,
Yeah,
I
but
remember.
yeah.
I was told to ask you about Essie Skip. What's the deal with
Yeah.
that?
Yeah, that's a skip, and it doesn't save any time. But that's a
By the
skip.
way, we saw your skip on the Amethyst platform at the end. Was that the skip you were talking about?
The what? Amethyst platform? What?
Yeah, you did a different strat on the
In-
Amethyst platform.
In Heart of the Baneful, the Mega Man part.
Oh no, I always do that.
Oh, I thought that was a new skip.
No.
Come on. I thought that would have been a beautiful meme.
I just call it the lazy strat because you just stand there and don't move.
I
You
think
just
it's
wait
time,
for
though.
it to summon platform 4 times, and then you can just go. It changes nothing.
Yeah, well, you get the only positive I can see with that's that you get a chance to drink before the bosses
Yeah.
start.
You can just chill there. You don't have to go.
So what was your skip then? Or were you
Oh.
just fronting? Were you just fronting?
No, I'm. The skip is gonna be for the winner of the tournament.
Oh,
The reveal.
dear God, Frey, how dare you?
Yeah,
Well-
I think this was a good race. Without the chokes on Yugi 2 and Azrael, I think it would have been really close. I spent a long time on him too.
Yeah,
I died
Moon
at the
got
very
us.
end like twice.
That was a hard run to beat by Moon, though. Solidly
Yeah,
sub
yeah.
50. That was
Moon's
beautiful.
only like 3 minutes off her PB.
Yeah.
So that was pretty good.
Yeah, well, I want to say congratulations to both of you. That was a very hype race. I'd like to thank everybody that were watching the race. Thank you very much for your support. And we're going to have more V coming on. Let me check the schedule just really quickly. Schedule here.
Yeah.
So tomorrow night at midnight Eastern, we're going to have Shark, which is the second best player of the game, and he is a very impressive player to see play. Yesterday he was streaming. He's back to form. He's impressive, and he's going to play against Red Toad, which is one of the new players. He's one of the new. I'm sorry, I'm rearing myself here. And there's a little bit of, I mean, he just started playing the game, so it's a bit of a mismatch. But I'm sure he's going to do his best. And we saw yesterday that we are not, not safe from upsets. It can happen.
Oh
After
yeah.
Yeah.
After that, 3 hours later, we're going to see Canaris versus Flashmits in Australia time.
Did you mention that me and Moon were the closest seed together? So
Yeah, we did. We were really hyped to see that game.
yeah. Yeah, it could have been really close, but The choke potential in V is so big, you know.
Yeah, I mean, every once in a while you just hit a boss and
Yeah. If you die once, you lose so much time.
Yep.
On a boss.
Yeah,
And,
yeah.
and you can get scared. You get the nerves can hit you, and then you just keep dying.
I think I knew we were toe to toe at Cataract for sure.
Yeah, 2
Because
seconds.
I had played really well, so unless Moon had choked like the early game, we were
I
pretty
she had a
close for
pretty
sure.
bad early game for my standards.
Yeah.
And the rep was really good.
But races are a different beast entirely than
Yeah,
just
yeah.
speed
You
running
cannot
and
say.
resetting. So congratulations to you both. We're going to be back with V tomorrow night. Hope you enjoyed the stream. Have a good evening. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, everybody, and congrats, Moon, on the victory.
Oh yeah, I
that's-
forgot. Please follow our two runners, RisingMooon and Frayzlo. They deserve it. They're great streamers. Also, Dash Retro. He's the best commentator right now. I really liked working with him, and
Oh,
he deserves
shucks.
your follow. He's a good guy. I love him. Give him a follow. He deserves it.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody. See you next time.
Goodbye.
Bye.